if you thought fractions were easy, this is about to get fun, okay? Now we start moving into more complex things, and like what do we do when we have mixed numbers, okay? It's still pretty straightforward. It's nothing to freak out about or panic about. Just keep your head, do what makes sense, and try something. What you need to know, still building on our rules, the Merrihouse rules to deal with fractions. If you memorize my 5, you are going to be A-okay, I promise. First of all, I'll say it again. Denominators can only change by multiplying and dividing. You can't add them or subtract them to change. The only way to change a denominator is by by multiplying and dividing. Rule number 2, if you do it to the bottom, do it to the top. Go ahead and say it with me again. If you do it to the bottom, you got to do it to the top. We have to remain consistent. The fraction is one number. It is not 2 with a little line. It is one value, one number. 3, check for simplifying and dividing, of course, by dividing by 2, 3, 5, 7, and 9. Okay? Occasionally, you're going to have something where you're going to have 11 as a factor or 13 as a factor. There's going to be special cases. But for the majority of what we do with simplification, if it's not divisible by 2, 3, 5, 7, and 9, chances are it's going to be in simplest form. 4, remember that you cannot add or subtract if their denominators are not the same. Can't do it, can't do it, can't do it. So let's jump right in there. 4 and 3/10 plus 7 and 6/10. Two mixed numbers. Pretty straightforward. They both have the same denominator. I'm going to check for that first. If they don't have the same denominator, we know what we have to do. But in the first couple examples, I kept the denominators the same to keep it simple. 3/10 plus 6/10, that's 9/10. 4 plus 7, whole number parts, was 4 plus 7. 11. 11 and 9/10. Now the only thing I'm going to tell you as we move through this, and as you do your practice, is always watch out for an improper fraction. I know it's already in a mixed number, but you can end up with parts here that need to be regrouped so your mixed number gets a little bit bigger. Alright? Watch out for that improper fraction in the answer. Next, we're going to do 9 and 3/4 plus 3 and 3/4. Now, 3/4 plus 3/4, look, bam, you almost think I set that up on purpose. It's 6/4. 9 plus 3 is 12, but I can't leave 12 and 6/4. That's wrong. It's improper still. We know that 12 and 6/4 is really 12 plus 6/4, the fraction plus the whole number. And we know that 6/4 is equal to 1 and 1/2, like you guys got, or 1 and 2/4. I'm sorry, I'm jumping steps. So 12 and then 6/4 is 1/2 makes it 13 and 2/4. And don't forget to simplify then. Students will often do that. They'll think because they take the improper fraction and get their mixed number fixed back up right, they'll forget that. Do not forget to simplify. Now, some students will go ahead and simplify 6/4 first. That's fine, but it's still something that's going to have to be changed because 6/4 simplified is 3/2, and that's still an improper fraction. Okay? So, 12 and 6/4. I have a whole extra set right there, a whole extra one, which bumps the 12 up to 13 and leaves me 2 out of 4 parts. I don't need you to write all these steps when you do your homework. I only need you to write those steps if you need to do it. If you're someone that processed all this in your brain, you're like, cool, I got it. I don't need to see this. You can go from here to here and I'm good. Okay? But I need you to catch and recognize that this mixed number still has an improper fraction that bleeds over and makes this an extra whole number. Alright? Now I have an example we're going to do together. 10 and 3/5 plus 4 and 4/5. First thing I'm checking for, guys, are the denominators the same? Yes. Yes, they are. I'm good to go. 3/5 and 4/5. That's 7/5. 4 plus 10 is 14. 14 and 7/5. They're both prime number. Well, they're both prime numbers. But that's not in simplest form because that's still a mixed number. That's one whole set more. So one extra set turns 14 into 15, and then I have 2 parts left over for 2/5. Okay? 2/5 is in its simplest form. Notice, 7/5 is actually 1 2/5, and that 1 just got added to the 14 to make 15 2/5. Now, I threw a lot of parts at you in this next one. 2 1/3 plus 2 2/4. Right away, the denominators are not the same. We are frozen until we fix that first. Do not pass go. Do not do more math. If you have $200, you better share it with me. Cannot do anything until we give them a common denominator. So, 1/3, 2/4, I'm thinking 12. Remember, if you do it to the bottom, you got to do it to the top. Multiply 3 by 3 to get 12, by 3 on top to get 6. 3 times 4 is 12, 1 times 4 is 4, 4 plus 6 is 10/12. 2 plus 2 is 4, we get 4 10/12. Don't forget to simplify your fraction part. Divide by 2, 4 5/6. Find that common denominator, just like if there was no mixed number. Fix that first. Next, 4 2/5 plus 3 7/10. I've thrown all sorts of stuff at you in this one. First of all, the denominators are not the same. I got to fix the denominators first. I'm going with 10. Why? Because 5 can go into 10, and if I don't have to change 7/10, why am I going to do it? So 5 becomes a 10 by multiplying by 2. We know we can only change denominators by multiplying or dividing. Rule number 1. If you do it to the bottom, you got to do it to the top. Rule number 2. 2 times 2 is 4. 7/10 I leave alone. 4 plus 7 is 11. 11/10. 4 plus 3 is 7. 7 11/10. Watch out for that improper fraction. 7 11/10. That's one whole extra set, which makes it 8 1/10. Okay? If this is the part you're struggling with, don't sweat it. We're going to work on this for a couple days. We're going to get you through it. Okay? I promise. Some try-its that I want you to do today. Okay? 10 2/3 plus 3 1/3. I'll give you a hint, you're going to get a whole number. Number 2, 1 3/10 plus 2 4/10. I'm going to give you a hint, you're not going to get a whole number. It's going to be mixed. Number 3, 9 3/5 plus 8/15. There's no whole number part to 8/15. But don't get too over easy simply because there's no whole number part. Trust me, there might be a trick there. And by might be, I mean there probably is. 4, 5 3/4 plus 6/12. I did it again. Go ahead and add those. Remember, I want your answers in simplest form. Yes, you still have to write a 1 to 2 sentence summary at the end. It's part of our Cornell notes taking system. See you guys in the morning.